Hey all, it's your girl Aaron, and today I wanted to talk about politics again, USA politics. So, anyway, um, I wanted to talk about whether I think certain things are going to happen, and then I can look back on this and see if I got them right, I guess. So, firstly, I think that it's possible that Trump will get impeached. I think definitely uh, Congress will want to, and I think Pelosi won't be able to stop impeachment from being charged against him. I think the exposure with Mueller testifying to Congress and to the Senate is going to have made it more visceral, and having people from your own state discussing the stuff that Trump's done, it's going to make it real for a lot of people, and that may be enough to pressure the Senate into going with it. They may just be like, let's cut our losses and take the hits or whatever. This guy's not worth it. So it is still possible that they will just go full on, like, not care about the law, like let's do a dictatorship. But I have a feeling that's not going to happen. And then I think in terms of the election, then that I don't think Trump is going to be even running. Yeah, and that would be interesting. But let's say, for example, that he managed to stay in power enough to run, then I think it's over. Like he won't win, and I think probably what's going to happen is that people are going to switch from Trump to someone else who is a lot like Trump without all the baggage, and so that'll make it that there is still kind of a close call in a way of you can't guarantee a win, because I think you can guarantee a win against Trump almost no matter who you choose. I think, but yeah, so potentially you'll have someone like who is kind of like a smooth talker, but with the same policies as Trump, with you know, like kind of like a Pence, which is not good if they get into power. Things will keep escalating in a bad direction, and it will just happen a little bit slower. But I think I think Bernie's going to get the nomination, and that's because there's been enough time now for the field to kind of settle, where nobody new joining in is going to be able to make a splash. And so looking at who's already out there, and not so much looking at the polling numbers as looking at their fundraising and their base for getting out the vote, and how jacked up their campaign is, how they're doing on social media, and all that kind of stuff. And I think nobody is nobody is more attractive to the working class than Bernie. I think people are going to be drawn to him more and more the more they see of him. Uh, People assumed his time was over, but he's stronger than ever. But they don't know that he's stronger than ever yet. And so the more they get exposed to him, and it's happening all the time, like he's doing well in all his public appearances and stuff. And he's also not made his entire campaign about being against Trump. He always starts off by saying the number one thing is we need to get rid of Trump, but then he goes on to say what the rest of his campaign's about, and he doesn't dwell on Trump all the time, Where so let's say Trump does get impeached, Candidate like Biden, who made the entire campaign on like, I'm definitely able to beat Trump, is going to be like lost his main um, attractive points, you know, and people are going to be like, get out of here, and he's probably going to be like, before even you get to the primaries, he's going to exit the race because it's like exiting the race for like health reasons or something. People can still be like, oh well, he would have done well, but if he actually goes into the primaries and tanks like the way it looks like he will, that's it, you know, like how you embarrass yourself, and I think he's gonna have enough people clued into politics to be able to tell him like, yo, it's not looking good, bro. So yeah, Biden is not a real contender and hasn't ever been. There was a nostalgia boost, but the thing is, people get tired of that. That wears off, and the thing is, with Bernie, the more you hear about him, the more you like him. It's the opposite effect. Where like someone like Hillary or Biden, and even people like Kamala, the more you hear about them, you know, the more you hear from them, the less you like them, and the more they seem fake, and the more they contradict, and you can't tell if you trust them. Now Elizabeth Warren is someone who is probably in the middle there, where like you aren't sure, but you would lean towards the side of thinking she's legit. Whether she is or not is another story. People have said Bernie isn't legit, so you know. But personally, I think while I wouldn't say Bernie is a far leftist, but I would say that he is legit. That is one thing, and that's the thing that's going to get him the nomination because it's evening out. There was I think there was a poll where he came out on top as well recently, and it's like Bernie doesn't need to be at the top of the polls, and like his base is going to be like more active when he's not in the lead anyway. So he does kind of benefit from being in like second or third place at this stage, because that's going to activate his base. It's going to make people realize it's not, and the truth is it isn't easy, but they're going to realize it already now instead of only when, you know, the primary starts or whatever. And the fact that they can realize it now means he's going to do better when the primary starts. And so when he comes out the first primary as the winner, it's going to snowball. And, you know, he might not win every state, but I rate, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be absurd to keep running against him. Like, I honestly will be surprised if they get beyond California. I think after California, you know how it was like after California, everyone was like, oh, Hillary won, despite the fact that like I'm not even entirely sure if she did win California. Like there was a whole lot of nonsense that happened there, but I think it's going to be the case like after California, if not before, people are going to be like, guys, Bernie has us. Like we can't keep being in denial. So the thing is, every single opposition to Bernie is very sort of reactionary and very thin. There's no substance to those criticisms. That isn't to say he's perfect and that you can't make substantive criticisms, but in advocating for somebody else who's running compared to him, like if you advocate compared to an anarcho-communist, like there's a lot to be desired, but compared to everyone else running, I haven't seen any substantive thing. Like I am not 100% happy with Bernie, and go on his live streams and I comment on them to tell him that he needs to check himself about Foster Sester. And people, when he went to Nevada, people raised it in the town hall. Twice it got raised, which is good. And so we need to keep speaking out about that as well, so that we can. But the thing is, when you speak out, Bernie is going to actually listen to you. He's going to at least want to understand your side, and we know we have the correct side on this, so we shouldn't be worried where he'll come down on that. We just need to get him to pay attention to it. But other politicians, they'll be like, my plate's already full, like, go away. Like, Bernie's not that kind of politician, I don't think. If he hears that there's a serious injustice that he didn't know about before, he's the kind of person that's going to be like, well, let's try and do something about that as well. That's my opinion. And that's why he gets like really active supporters, because out of everyone else, he's the only one who like sort of marginalized people feel represented by. Not because he is the same thing that they are, but because he's the only one who's actually willing to make systemic changes for reals, and is like specifically like he's got an anti-endorsement list of rich people who he's like banning them from even trying to take donations. Like, he's signaling, he's like trying to get people to adopt worker co-ops. He's going to hospitals that are being shut down and trying to get attention so that that doesn't happen. And like, he's trying to get people to have a better minimum wage. So he's doing all of that. Like, not, it is because of he's running as politician, but it's also because he wants to tell people, like, look at all the stuff I'm doing now, and let's do that more. And so I think so you can only crowd the Democratic field so much. And the thing is, like, even if it gets to the end of the debates and there's still like too many people with running or whatever, like, wait until the first few primaries and he's going to be on top, and then just watch what happens from there. So yeah, I'm calling it now. We'll see what happens. I'm predicting that whoever the Republicans choose will not be able to get more than, say, 45%. I rate Bernie will get about 55%. If Trump does some Houdini gymnastics and ends up running, it's going to be more like Trump 35, Bernie 65. And so the thing is, I don't want Trump in power until then, because that's X number more bad policies, X number more incitements of hate and violence, X number more lives lost, X number more racists emboldened, X number more far-right people radicalized, and that shouldn't be an option. So I do want Trump out, even if it means the Bernie that I'm predicting gets nominated wins less. And even though that might mean there's less wins in the Senate, it's still better if people take a stand against Trump, because if they are like willing to fight, they're going to realize that they actually still have the ability, So they impeach Trump, and if that goes through, if the next person comes in and tries to do the same thing as him, then they'll be like, okay, we know what to do, we've done this. So it's not a problem for Trump to get impeached. And the thing is, we shouldn't want quick wins. So like, accelerationism is like playing chicken, because if you don't stop Trump, you're going to be completely wrecked. But he does mean more people getting radicalized to the left as well, and he does mean more chance of a landslide and the death of the Republican Party. And the thing is, slow progress is cool too, and it's not as risky. And you can't take a chance with people's lives like that. So you gotta just go for that for now. Get Trump out of the way ASAP if you can. If you don't, hopefully you don't get a dictatorship, and hopefully not too many people die between now and when he gets out of power then. But he won't win in an election. There isn't a Democrat they can nominate who he can beat. not anymore. 2 months ago, maybe, but people are souring on him now, I think, because he has gotten so much more racist, and the people who are super racist are going to be even more fanatical and devoted to him. But most people are like, no, thank you. And he says stuff like, oh, the stadium was packed. I could have filled it 10 times more. You know I could. But the thing is, he's bluffing. Like, he's going to keep saying that, but um, he's not going to have the numbers Bernie has, in my opinion. And that's gonna make him look like they're gonna be like, well, make it 10 times, let's see. And Bernie's gonna be bigger, and yeah. Anyway, those are my predictions for American politics. We'll see how accurate I am. Thanks for watching. Bye.